Young people are going backwards. They've been going backwards for the last 20 years and we're only finally cottoning onto it, but we need to act. And governments of all persuasions at all levels have been letting them down. They're going backwards in terms of their wealth. Look at a young person, their household held up by a young person has gone basically nowhere in terms of its wealth for the last 10 years. A household held by somebody over the age of 65 has increased their wealth by 50%. So that's what's happening. Older households have increased their wealth by around 50% in the last 10 years, while younger households have gone nowhere. And it feels like that when you're out there in the community. I've had a young guy, Hugo, come to my office and he said, look, I did everything right. I studied hard, I went to uni, I've got a good job, I've got a 50,000 HECS debt, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to buy my own home. He feels trapped, and he's not alone. And this is where we all in this parliament need to be a parliament that makes a difference on this, because parliament after parliament has kicked this can down the road and it's not good enough. The key issues that young people are facing right now is absolutely housing, but it's also tax and it's also HECS debt. Because in terms of housing, we know that young people have been priced out, and we know that the things that the coalition have promised over the previous 10 years did not deliver. They're back now saying they care about young people and getting people into home ownership and they should use their super. Well, I asked them, where were they for the last 10 years making a difference to those young people so they could actually get a job? So that they could actually get into affordable housing, into housing that they could actually afford. They were absolutely missing in action. And the evidence coming out today suggests that letting people get into their super is only going to benefit a very small number of young people and not the majority who are completely locked out of housing right now. But also, it's not just housing that is the problem. It is also about HECS and tax. So, for instance, on HECS, in the last 2 years, young people have been paying around 7% or 5% on their HECS debt. Even on top of money that they have already paid back, they're still being charged 7% and 5% on their HECS debt. They're watching their HECS debts grow higher and higher because of the way that it's been indexed. Myself and other crossbenchers wrote to the government last year saying, fix this. They didn't. They must fix it in this budget. And finally, on tax. We know that there are issues like the way that we tax younger people and workers versus how we tax asset holders. And we know we need to fix that. And this is, again, something that we need to do in this parliament.